Hello and welcome to my channel, Leaders in Making. And it is a very beautiful day. I'm extremely happy and with great pleasure, I invite one of my dearest student, Ms Deepshikha Verma. She's also associated with me from almost 12 to 13 years now, a student with great hard work, sincerity, honesty in her professional life. Even before that, when she was a student, she has worked with me also when she was in the placement department of her college, always with a great uh, neutral aspect. She had great team handling skills, and I'm proud of her journey where she is with us today. I personally welcome you, Deepshikha, on channel Leaders in Making, a channel for career coaching for giving directions to freshers and professionals. Most welcome.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's my pleasure to be here. And that was a very, thank you so much for that introduction, that beautiful introduction. It's actually my pleasure to be here.
Yeah. And I'm sure listeners are going to learn great from your experience and exposure, which you have collected in your life with your hard work and sincerity. I remember that you were primarily from a BSc background, science background. So it's a very important aspect. A lot of students come on our channel because they are from different backgrounds and they want to venture into the field of management, MBA. And this is a very, very common query that, ma'am, I'm from BCom, I'm from BSc. How can I navigate to MBA? I would like you to let us know that how you navigated from a science background to a management background, and you were pretty well in both the specializations, marketing and HR. Your perspective on that, please.
Yes, that is actually true because a lot of times students find it very difficult to understand how should we navigate. If we are from a science background, is it okay for us to go for an MBA? Or what is the right time for us to go for an MBA if at all we have to? Moving from a science background, so I in fact in my school as well, I come from a science background, and when I did my bachelor's, I went into computer science honors. So it was BSc honors computer science from Delhi University. And at that point in time, in those 3 years of my life, I realized that my interest definitely lies in technology, but my interest doesn't lie in sitting behind a screen and coding. I wanted to do more, and I wanted to do more in the people function, the business aspect, the business side of it, which is why I prefer to go for MBA. And MBA, essentially, I think I would recommend MBA to any fresher out there who wants to understand how the industry functions, because it opens up your perspective like anything. It's very important for a student, for a fresher to understand how an industry works by doing an MBA. Of course, there things are different on the ground, but then at least you get some perspective of how things function. So that's when I went for an MBA. And the first year essentially is very generic for everyone. And the second year is when you start exploring your specializations. And I chose marketing and HR for a reason, because I knew my strengths, I knew my areas of interest by that time. By the time I was doing my bachelor's, I realized what I wanted and I went for an MBA. When I went for an MBA in the first year, I realized my areas of interest, I explored them a little bit more. And I understood that probably people handling, speaking to people is more my forte, which is why HR came naturally to me. Whereas I was also interested in a lot of creative stuff, right? So I also took marketing along with that, just to see, let's explore what transpires in the second year, and let's see where does this knowledge takes me. And that is why I took marketing and HR, and those two are actually one of the most sought after fields as well these days, apart from IT, of course. So that is how I chose MBA and HR. But I'm glad that I made that choice, because MBA, along with a technical background, which I had a computer science honors background, is a very deadly combination when it comes to an industry. You have a technical acumen, plus you have a business acumen, and it's very important. It serves as a very nice cocktail that you serve to the industries these days, because everything is getting driven towards technology. We are moving towards digitalization. Everything is over computers and everything is digitalized these days. So it's important to have that mindset, that technical acumen as well. So I think it's I made the right choice, is what I would say.
Of course, I think post-COVID, what you said, a blend of technical with business acumen, I think that's the most successful trait in any professional today. Any major challenge you felt while you initially ventured into MBA first year, coming from BSc?
Initially, yes. When you move into an MBA in the first year, things are so generic. You are taught all sorts of subjects. But coming from a science background, getting the hang of the financial, the accounting subjects was a little challenging for me because I did not have that background. Whereas my fellows who were from a commerce background, who were from a finance background, who could very quickly grab those things. So that was one challenge that I had. But at the same time, this entire journey of doing an MBA helps you make a lot of friends, helps you make a lot of do a lot of networking at that time, which actually helped me around that time because I had certain really good friends who could help me study those subjects and I could pass with good marks. So initially, yes, that is one challenge that I faced being a science student, but I would not say that because it became a blocker for me in any way because I was able to get past it. If you study properly, if you're able to be attentive in the class and you have good friends who come from that background and are more than happy to share that knowledge with you, I think it becomes easy.
I would like to add on to our listeners here that you were always very keen to learn and you had that great zeal to explore. That is why it really helped you to navigate from science to MBA. A quick question came to my mind since you are already so experienced in the industry now. What do you suggest to freshers? They should hold on for a job on a job after doing the undergraduation and then do PG program after a year or so? Because that's a very hot burning and a common question among students, that do they have to start PG immediately after UG, or what is preferable, a job or something?
That's actually a very good question, and that's something that I get asked pretty often with my cousins who are doing their graduation and post graduation these days. My personal experience in this is that you should complete your education in totality and then move into the industry. And I have my reasons for that. So, post my graduation, I actually went on to take up a job and I dropped that year and then I did my MBA. During that job, I was given an opportunity to pursue an MBA alongside my job, but it was very difficult to manage because the job that MBA would happen over the weekends, over extended hours, and then it initially becomes very difficult for you to balance your professional aspect along with your studies. Studies demand a certain sense of focus, time, energy, and effort. So once you move out of that studying phase and you get into that professional space, it becomes slightly difficult. I would not say it's impossible. A lot of people do that, but it becomes slightly difficult for you to focus on that um, learning aspect when it comes to getting a degree. And to be honest, I didn't want to do an MBA just for the sake of it, where I would just get passing marks, I would get a fancy degree, and it'll shine bright on my LinkedIn. Um, the reason why I wanted to do an MBA is because I really wanted to understand how this industry functions, how things work. I wanted to do internships, I wanted to do projects, I wanted to do so much more and explore during that time, which is why I personally opted for going for a full time MBA program and then began my career. So, my advice would be that you finish your studies first and then move into the corporate ladder because later in life, MBA is definitely something that adds a value to your CV. And when you are considered for a leadership position at that point, if you don't have an MBA, you will not go for an MBA right then. Spend a year, finish it off, and then apply for that leadership position. You already have it. Plus, you now have an experience of XYZ years, and then you move into that leadership role. I think it adds to your CV that way.
Wonderful. What a great explanation. I was going through your profile also. I see you have done a lot of work on customer service and customer success. So, what is the basic difference between these two words per se, or operations per se, or the job description per se, or the responsibility per se for our listeners?
Absolutely. This is one of the most confused terms. These are two very confused terms, and are used interchangeably for I don't know for what reason with folks, but there's a huge difference. Yeah, there's a huge difference between customer service and customer success. To understand it better, let's look at an example. Customer service is reactive. It is more focused on issue resolution. For example, my food got late from Zomato. I would just go to the chat and I would say, hey, my food got late, and they would respond and they would give me a resolution. That is customer service. What do you do with Uber? What do you do with Swiggy or Amazon, Myntra for that matter? That is that issue resolution or that reactive approach when a customer raises a question or concern is customer service. You're just servicing them. Customer success, on the other hand, is a proactive approach. What that means is that though you're focusing on the issue resolutions as well, but your primary focus essentially is on achieving the business objectives of that customer of yours, understanding and delivering value to them. And though they might have raised a certain concern to you today, also preempting what can come further, a month or 6 months from now or a year from now, and resolving it proactively so that your customer sees value, your customer sees success in the product or the service that you're serving them. So there is a huge difference in customer service and customer success. In fact, customer success as a job, as a role, is very new in India. If I would, I'd like to throw some light there as well. It was very popular in the US earlier, but between 2015 to 2018, it also expanded to the other countries as well. In fact, LinkedIn's most promising jobs of 2019 rated customer success as one of the fastest growing roles in the world. And that is, in fact, in 2019 is when I joined my current organization in Fido, which is also a SaaS-based organization focused on customer success. And I joined as a customer success manager over there. It was a very new role, especially in India as well, and of course in that organization as well. So, and majority of these customer success roles, majority of them are in the IT and software industries. But they've now also expanded into different industries like agriculture, like pharma, healthcare, fitness, travel, education. I mean, you name it, and it's there. So it's a very very popular role now in India as well.
Sure. So can we assume it for the listeners that customer service is a short-term solution, but customer success is a long-term vision for customer satisfaction?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sure, sure. And it's so nice that you were always good on that, even if you were not in that role 10 years, 12 years back. Wonderful. Before I proceed on to my other set of questions, here, right now, at this point of time, what kind of skill set or at attitude level or soft skill level you expect from freshers if they want to venture into customer service or customer success from here
Sure.
right now? Yeah.
Right. If you want to venture into customer success or customer service, one most important thing, the number one thing that you need to have is great communication skills. This role essentially is a customer facing role. The person that you're going to be speaking to has to understand you very clearly, and you've got to be very confident about it. Be clear about what you're saying, be confident about it, be empathetic about it. Your communication should be excellent, is what I would say. And that is when you will gain the trust of the customer, and they're going to come back and give you more revenue. The company would grow, you would grow with the organization. So it's very important. Number one is to have great communication skills. Number two is what I would say is having some sort of a technical acumen, which I mentioned before this. Why is that necessary? Is because over time you would see technically we've advanced so much that everything has become digital these days. A great example would be nobody carries wallets these days. like a physical wallet. Nobody carries cash these days because everything is Paytm, Google Pay, everything is instant, is UPI based, or this shows how far we've come in terms of technology, which is why a lot of jobs are, a lot of organizations are also technically based. They're very technically oriented. So for you to understand some of that, how organizations function, for you to understand that, you got to have a basic level of understanding of how technology works, how very basic understanding of something of that sort will help you gain that entry into that industry and understand it a little better. Otherwise, what will happen is that people will use certain terminologies around you that you would not be aware of, and you would not be able to pick it up. And that will happen, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine, because you learn as you go forward. You learn on the go, you learn on the job as well. But having a base or a foundation will just take you, will give you that little edge and that little push that you would need. So that's number two. Number three would be empathy, and understanding of, having that conflict resolution skills. Because when you're entering into a customer domain, you're not going to get very happy customers all the time. You will definitely face customers who are not so happy. You will face customers who are agitated, not happy with the product or the services that you've served them. So that level of empathy is extremely important to understand what they're going through and support them at that point in time. And not to undermine the importance of relationship building. I think you should start it much early in your career, from your school, from your college. It's very important to do that networking, that relationship building. It helps you in this role as well. So these are a couple of things, that skills that I would say are important for this role.
Sure, that's amazing. Any technical skill certification coming to your mind right now, probably apart from UG, PG? Any upcoming thing, something in digital, something in technical aspect? Any specific certification would you like to recommend?
I wouldn't say a certification of sorts, but I would say certification definitely helps if it just adds on to your CV. If you know certain languages, how they operate, if you know the basics of cloud computing, you know the basics of how things work, because everything is on the cloud these days, if you know those basics, I think that's a good way, that's a good place to start off from. And as and when, depends on what industry you move into, what organization you move into, you can identify more courses online and pave your way through.
Wonderful. You have worked for the same function, same role in multiple industries. Would you like to throw some quick light on different kind of industries in the same function for people?
Yes. I worked in the customer success domain in different industries. I was also into a consulting firm, then I was into different .com organizations. Now I'm into a SaaS-based organization. So these are different industries, and there are multiple industries, like I mentioned before as well, which have opened up the role for a customer success uh, function. So that's very it's very important that you it's not that what industry you're functioning in. If you're good at your job, there will be opportunities for you that will open up. And talking about SaaS, essentially the current organization that I'm working with, the current industry that I'm working with, is SaaS based. SaaS is software as a service, and if I have to put it very simply, it's nothing but a software distribution model, which is where the applications are hosted on a cloud and they are licensed on a subscription basis. Right. You can also call it like a web hosted software of sorts. Like a big example is a Dropbox, which is your cloud storage platform, right? Your Google Workspace, your Zoom that we are speaking on, Salesforce, Slack. There are multiple examples of a SaaS product. So there are multiple opportunities that are in the market right now, and because everything is moving to cloud, everything is moving towards that space, there are multiple options that are open in the IT and software industry. So if you're eyeing that, it's a great place to be, is what I would say.
Wonderful. I'm so happy that you explained SaaS also, a very important question and query on our platform. And even while I wanted to have this question with you, thank you for covering that. Any major challenge when you were shifting from one industry to other industry in the same function?
Yes, there are challenges, definitely. For example, when I was moving from one .com organization, I'd worked with different .com companies. I'd worked with 99acres.com. I'd worked with imjobs.com. And then, I moved to magicbricks.com. And then I moved into my current organization, that's Infido. The challenge is that because I when you move from one industry to another, the challenges of each industry differ, and the way of functioning of each industry is very different. Your audience, your customers are different. The way you treat them is very different. Um, a customer which is in the real estate world needs to be treated in a very different way as compared to a customer from an IT domain. They are very different worlds altogether. So what I would say is what's going to be helpful for everyone is to know your skill, know your craft, know that you be good at your job, know the basic skills of customer handling and customer success. And gradually, once you enter that industry, you can utilize those skill sets and quickly understand the nuances of the other industry as well. Initially, there will be challenges to understand, but these are things that can always be learned. These are things that you can learn on the go. But there are the customer successes, which is a core skill that is very difficult to be taught. It has to be, it has to come from yourself. So once you have that, it will not be a very big challenge for you to move to a different industry. But what I would suggest is that once you find which industry is best suited for you, once you identify, okay, this is what I want to do, and I love this industry, I think I can do and contribute so much more, stick to that. Because once you do that, you then carve your career path accordingly, and then you can move on in the same industry to multiple levels. And there's no dearth of opportunities. I mean, sky is the limit is what I would suggest. So yeah, identify where you want to focus more your what is your area of interest essentially.
Wonderful. What a lovely way of handling challenges, I should say. No, no more challenges actually. For because our channel has not just freshers, but they have working professionals as well. Would you like
Yes.
to share that when you are a fresher and when you
Mhm.
moved on from a fresher to say, let's say 2 to 3 years of experience person, then to 5, then to 8, then to 10, what all
Mhm.
nuances you had in your mind and how professionals or freshers should look up to this journey starting from level zero?
Certainly. um One, and I'll personally talk from my own learning here.
Sure.
um so when you're a fresher, the number one thing that I would suggest for you from my own personal experience, and now I see these kids doing the same mistake, is prioritize knowledge over money initially. A lot of times, what happens is that people let go of such great opportunities just because they think, oh, the package is too less. Oh my God, I'm not going to join a job which is giving me 40,000 or 30,000. Oh my God, I'm looking at something at a 50,000. So initially, understand that you've not even started in the industry, you have no knowledge. At least get a platform for yourself to learn about things, gather that knowledge, build your own profile, build yourself in such a way that organizations approach you to join them. First, you have to build that foundation. So for freshers, number one, prioritize knowledge over money any day, and don't stop learning at all. Yeah. um, for people who are, let's say, 1 year 2 year old in this in the organization, in the corporate world, it's very important to keep upskilling yourself, because 1 year 2 year 3 year is a time when you've recently entered the industry, you're still understanding where does your interest lie, if this is what you want to do. Maybe you're hopping jobs at this time, but try to understand what you want to do, where is where does your passion lie? What is the thing that makes you most happy? What industry, what work, what do you like doing the most? And whatever you identify, start upskilling yourself, start learning, start doing a lot of courses, take initiatives in your organization. You never know what clicks. You would never know what clicks. I'll give you an example. I was work in my previous firm. I was working as a customer success manager, but it also required us to run different campaigns for our customers. And because I was very interested in doing creative stuff, I took up that initiative, and I said, marketing is not available. No worries, let me do it myself. I built my own creatives. I built my own forms, and we created a complete big campaign. We invited customers, and it was a big success. And I enjoyed doing that. And basis the same thing, my manager observed this, and I moved on from that organization. It's been a while, been about 3.5 years now. But my manager called me very recently, and she was like, "Hey, I remember you were very creative that way. Would you be interested in coming over?" And she was inviting me to for a job. She's offering me a job in her current organization, and that made me really happy and proud that maybe I made my mark. And that was only possible because I took that initiative and to understand whether or not this is going to work or not. So take initiatives, upskill yourself, to not stop learning at all in this phase, essentially. And once you reach 5 years, 4 or 5 years of tenure, I think it's very important by that time to be a team player, because this is a time when you would start getting maybe like a managerial position or something in the organization, and you can't be a team leader unless you're a team player. That's very important. So know your way how to deal with the people around you, and that is how you can pave your career path. You can understand what is your growth path from there, because that 5 years time is a time when you start thinking about these things, that where do I want to go from here, what does my career look like the next 3 4 years, 5 years from now. So it's very important. It's like a journey is what I would say for people between 0 to 5 years, 6 years.
Wonderful. I'm extremely curious to know which industry you enjoyed the most.
The industry that I'm in right now, because this is initially I was also exploring. I didn't know where my interests lie, but now I'm pretty sure that IT is one industry that I think I'm extremely interested in, and I would want to continue.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So looking at your journey, when you look back, you are already 1 decade old in your profession. What you think you have done better, or probably what you will do better from now on?
Hmm. That's very interesting and a deep question. Um, I think one thing that has stood by me all these years is that and this is something that I've learned from you, of course, being my mentor, is to never stop learning. So I would want to continue to do that. I don't know what new I would want to do, or what better I want to do, but I would really want to get better at what I am doing right now, because learning never stops. I am a decade old in the industry, but then I will not be able to progress if I'm not brushing up my skills every day, because the industry, the technology, the world is changing every second, and if we are not upgrading ourselves, we will not be fitting in. Right? So it's extremely important to do that, and I think I want to do that. I want to continue learning and making sure that I'm best at my job. That's something that I would want to do.
Wonderful. So thankful that your students follow you and they feel that yes, something can be followed from the strength of their mentors. I saw your CV, which is wonderfully drafted. And I do tell students and professionals that CV is the first phase, though I know you from past 12 to 13 years. But yes, it was a brilliant presentation of your skills. So I'm taking the liberty for my listeners, for my viewers out there, for people who follow leaders in making. We would definitely like to request a sample CV. Probably you can make the necessary changes for people not to know your confidentiality. But then a sample CV from your side will really help for the channel. And also, if there are any related queries related to what you have shared, your journey, your role, your industry, your function, people who are freshers, people who are professionals on our channel, we would really request all of you to put down your query, your doubt, your question in the comment below, so that at the later stage, we can definitely connect with Deepshikha again and can have an answer from her for your queries. Any last tip you would like to share with people who want to really excel in the corporate world for this function?
Absolutely. I think one last tip that I would give everyone is do not take yourself too seriously. Things will fall into place. So please learn to have fun in your journey, right? It's not everything will fall into place. You do your hard work, do everything, but learn to smile in all this while. It's very important because that is something that's going to take you far. Your attitude is really going to take you far. So don't take yourself too seriously. You got to loosen up a little bit, keep that inner child alive, and things will fall into place. I wish everyone all the best and for their journey ahead.
I think for for our listeners, this has been the most wonderful and a friendly advice. A mentor from the industry telling them to enjoy what they do and what they love doing and take things as it is coming. This is what I am assuming from your last tip to our listeners and people who follow leaders in making. Thank you would be a very, very small word for you, Deepshikha, because I still remember that you are just a message, a call away. I would really like to congratulate the kind of essence you have developed as a professional and your essence of empathy, your essence of understanding the other's point of view, I think is a great success point in your journey ahead. On behalf of leaders in making, I'm very proud that I am one of the mentor in your life. And I really wish to see you taking all those career leaps, great happiness to your professional and personal life. My best wishes always with you.
Thank you, ma'am. A lot of gratitude to you. Thank you so much. It is my pleasure to be here, like I said, and like always a call away for you. I'll be happy to share my knowledge and anything, even in bits and bits, if I can to help anyone. I'll be more than happy. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Wonderful.
much.
And I wish to invite you probably after a year or so when you are more experienced in the current role, or I see you as a team leader managing different teams at one point of time, and looking forward to our second series with you as well.
Certainly, ma'am. I'll be more than happy.
All the best, and we'll meet soon again.
Certainly. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.